Well, welcome to this week's Bushel Up. To be honest, I got a long list, so bear with me. A lot of things going on. Normally we try to keep them 3 minutes. We might be 5 here. But I think it's officially okay to say we've got a mess on our hands. We've got corn all over the board as far as growth stages. We've got herbicide programs all over the board. Some that got on time, some that are late, some that are working great, some that are starting to fall apart here a little bit, just because it's been so long that they've been out there. So I want to talk a few things. First of all, let's focus on GDUs. You know, are we ahead? Are we behind? Actually, historically, we're not tracking that bad. You know, what's fresh in our mind is what happened last year when we had a week here around Memorial Day. You know, it's about a 10-15 day period where we were piling on a lot of GDUs, about 20 a day. You know, so just a few facts for you out there. If you plan around that April 10th, 12th window, you're around that 650 GDU. You're pushing some V6, V7 corn shortly here. So be watching your herbicide applications if you haven't got those fields sprayed. We're getting into that zone where we got to be careful about what we do. Last thing we want to see is you create a crop injury out there. If you're kind of in that end of April, the 20th to 25th, you're at that 550 GDUs. We're pushing that V5 corn, you know, so we want, you know, any yield enhancements, any foliar feeding, you know, we really want to get those on PGRs right now and get those herbicides on. We're pushing that upper window of when we want to see that maximum crop safety. Finally, if you, you know, after that big rain event where we were shut out for a week, if you get in that May 10th, you know, we're looking at V3, V4 corn, 350, 400 GDUs. That's kind of where you guys are sitting at. Again, not way behind. Actually, if you planted early, you're about right on track. The later planted corn, obviously, we've been a little slow on GDU accumulation here. Good news is, if you're worried about your herbicide applications right now, I look ahead at the forecast. We're looking at about 15 GDUs a day on average, maybe a little bit lower than that over the next 7 days. So we're going to put on 100 GDUs. You're putting on a leaf about every 70 to 80 GDUs, so a leaf and a half stage over the course of the next week. So if we can stay dry and get the sprayers rolling, you know, hopefully the wind cooperates and we can cover a lot of ground, and this corn isn't growing super fast. I mean, it's going to progress, but we'll keep it in check a little bit here. Getting a lot of questions about nitrogen. You know, how much nitrogen have we lost? Do we just had the wettest May, or one of the wettest Mays on record? That's a field by field basis. I'm sorry, I can't answer one size fits all. Your application methods are different. Was it banded? Was it broadcast? What form? How early was it put on? The only way to really know that is to try some nitrogen tests, some multiple depths. I'm not promoting going and pouring a whole lot more nitrogen on if you don't need it. You know, obviously soil testing now, it's going to take a little bit of time, and some of you guys are really pushing to get going. So use your best judgment, consult with your local agronomist. Our people will help to try and evaluate that, but there's no one size fits all. If you do have corn that's yellow, you know, consider some side dress. Some you know, ammonium sulfate will really help if you're going the dry route. If you're liquid, you know, maybe some Thiosul, get some sulfur out there. That always helps things progress a little bit better. And then we have some foliar options, a slow release nitrogen. Maybe that's a route to just buy yourself some time. It's not going to replace a lot of nitrogen if you lost some, but it'll help that crop give it a little more time to root down and get into that nitrogen that may be moved a little bit below that root zone. So be considering that. Also, micronutrient packs that have nitrogen, sulfur, iron, zinc. Our crew will really help with that. And then PGRs, kick that plant into gear, get that root system growing. Anything you can stimulate, get that shoot growing, get that plant really kicked in gear can help us. Insects. You know, the rootworm hatch was detected down in Clay Center last week. Be watching some of these later planted fields. I don't want to see these rootworm get ahead of those roots. Sometimes that can create a big mess. I've seen it a few times in my career over the last 28 years where the insects get ahead of the crop, and they operate off a calendar GDU cycle, so they don't follow the rules of our crops. We expect to see insects early because you know, all the heat we had there in February, March. It was great for field work, but those insects were advancing while that was going on. So be aware of that. And then finally, you know, just everybody take it easy, slow down. You know, I know there's a lot of stress out there in the countryside. We've seen crops that look good starting to turn yellow, crops underwater, crops trying to really struggle along, trying to get in the field, maybe do some replant, finish planting. Stay safe. Reach out if you need help. Reach out to us if you need somebody to talk to. We're here to visit with you, walk through options. I know we always try to promote making a plan. You know, I know we're on plan EFG now. Some of us are quite a ways down onto our 6th, 7th plan. But hang in there. We're here to help. We'll talk to you next week.